Hey everyone, Mango7Roll here. How we doing today? Welcome to another episode of Epic 7, and today we're going to do a little bit of chat. We're going to do like a let's talk video. This isn't going to be like a me complaining or anything. This is just a video that's been requested like at least a dozen times from people, and that is the current counterattack situation we have going on right now and how they handle it and other stuff, because a lot of gacha games lately have been having like massive fires. Genshin, for example, recently, PGR, there's so many gacha games that just have massive fires that they need to put out. Just like our sponsor of the day is Firefighter Tycoon, a game where you can AFK, get some income, send your firefighters out to save the city, and just have a good old time. And this game will play for you while you're at work. You can open it up after that, get all your cash, spend it on things like, you know, bathrooms, because right now there's 4 people, only 2 bathrooms over here, and that's a problem. The other cool part about this game is there are tons of events regularly Monday to Sunday, and you can download Firefighter Tycoon in the link description below for free on Android and iOS. The other cool part is with these new live op events going from Mondays to Sundays, they're going to have fire stations and tropical paradises for you to kind of explore there as well. You can now play in 2 cities with 3 challenging fire stations each. Additionally to your fire trucks, you're also going to be able to upgrade ambulances to help fight emergencies in each of these cities. You can not only extinguish fires in the cities, but also in the new tropical paradise now with fire boats, and you can watch this emergency here. We can choose our captain and blast this little thing with, I don't know, a ridiculous amount of water, and then we can try to get a captain at the end, which we of course do after we win. So if you want to download Firefighter Tycoon, you should in the link description below for free on Android and iOS. So yeah, the counterattack set, for those who weren't really familiar, previously it was 20% visually, but it was actually 30% in actuality. So that's one of those things where in the front, in the UI, it said one thing, but in the actual calculations, it was doing another. And this is one of those things that is kind of stressful. And let me tell you why. And to preface things, I'm not upset at all with how it happened. I'm a little concerned maybe, but I'm not like mad at them, right? Just to be super clear, this is a weird situation, right? Like to have something like that go on for 2 years, 3 years, however long this game has been out with counter sets and people have been using it, is kind of baffling to me. And it's not the fact that counter set was wrong. Like that's a thing that's like, well, that kind of sucks. But luckily for them, it was on the opposite side of things, right? Like if it was worse than it was actually showing, that would probably be a pretty big deal comparatively. But because it was better than it was showing, it's just kind of one of those things where it sucks, but I'm glad they acknowledged it. I'm glad they changed it. And I'm glad they're somewhat giving us back for it, right? Like they can't be like, well, for the last 3 years of counter, we're going to go back in time, you know? Like, there's nothing they can realistically do except for acknowledge it. Maybe one thing I haven't seen them say so far is they're going to go back through all the code and make sure everything is calculating right. Like, I haven't seen that yet. Maybe that's something they could say, just to be sure, because there's a lot of other stuff like this that are problematic, right? Because you never know. And people were saying it's just 20-30%. What does that matter? Well, let's say you're playing in the Epic 7 World Championships, and every decision you make matters. Every little thing you make matters, and you decide to attack into a Charles because you're like, well, 20% chance, 1 out of 5, I'm probably not going to get counterattacked by him. And then you get counterattacked from him, and then you lose the money from that world championship. Like, let's say that happened. What do you do in that situation? Did you lose because you made a calculation based on the info? And, you know, like, it's an extreme, but it's a possibility that could happen for sure. So, I think they handled it really, really well, honestly. That's what people have been asking me. Why haven't they been saying more about it? But I honestly think they did a pretty good job. They announced it on stream at the very end. They put out a notice for it. They gave us decent compensation. And most importantly, I think, is they didn't just brush it under the rug. They actually announced it in a live stream where they know people are going to instantly react. They didn't hide it in notices. And they could have very, very easily just tone that number down from 30% to 20%, and no one would really notice. As a side note, I think previously there have been tests people have done to see the counter rate, and I think it came out closer to 30 than 20, but they still weren't really sure. And for other games like Summoner's War, for example, we have the same sort of thing with Violent set, where Violent is basically RNL, gives you a chance to take an extra turn, and people were always so sure that on defense it was working stronger than it was elsewhere, right? And it just brings to light stuff like that again, you know? Like, is Elbrus really working right? Is evasion really working right? Is 15% chance to resist really working right? Are all the calculations with counterattacks and order of operations and debuffs and what else is there? Resists and effectiveness and accuracy and all those things. Is everything working, right? That's the thing that gets me wondering here. And again, people have asked me if I was angry about it, and I'm not at all. Just for the fact that they communicated about it is enough for me to kind of be happy, right? Like, we didn't brigade the Reddits and all the internets and be like, counter sets 30%, not 20%. They need to say something, you know? They got out in front of it and released it as it is. So that's a big A+ for me. And what can they do for the future, I guess? Like, I don't know what y'all want me to talk about this. I've been asked so many times to talk about this, and it's like, it happened. They've done their best to fix. I don't know what else they can do. They handled it okay. It's still working the same, you know? It's kind of like one of those things where we just let happen, right? Because there's nothing else we can really do. But the one thing I really want them to do from this point on, and perhaps I will forward this to Desperado or anybody, is I really want them to go through everything. Just set aside one intern, actually maybe not even an intern. Interns are known to mess things up. And have them calculate all the things and do like simulations and everything, and don't just look at the numbers, but do simulations and see how it goes. Like, make somebody do 1,000 attacks on a person with 50% evasion and see what happens, and go from there, right? And I really think they should not publish things, but just vocally acknowledge and publicly acknowledge that they went through each of these scenarios and they turned out to be the same rates as were expected, because that would kind of put a lot of safety in our hearts, I think, and cause the questioning. Because until they do, I take control at this point. I'm gonna take control. I'm just messing around with arena team, seeing what's working right now. So the Rowana is destroying me. I really want to just have them get that out there, because until they do something like that, I am never going to be like, is Gab actually 40% or whatever percent it is? Is a 23% or level 23 Gab better than a level 30 for some strange reason? Because you never know. Is Alexa's, that's the same thing, working right? Are all these situations happening in the way they're supposed to be? And until they clarify those things, from that point on, every time somebody loses, they're going to be like, oh, I lost because of Smilegate. I didn't lose because of a 15% resist. I lost because it was actually 30%. So yeah, just a quick little chat here. I wasn't sure what to do or even if I should release this, but hey, y'all asked for it. And those are my rambling thoughts. So thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe as always, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye, everybody.